black women and success. The ABC show that was on television, they were talking about black women who are successful, quote unquote successful, can't find good men. They're single because there are no available men. And the show I did last, the Mac Lessons Radio Show, episode 220, I went in on that. And I got a lot of responses from women all over the place. So a lot of women were saying things like, well, why is Tariq attacking black women? I wasn't attacking black women. I was not attacking black women. I was trying to stop black women from attacking black men. But I was not attacking black women. And also I was cross-examining some of the stuff that these women were saying. But that's not attacking. And another thing that a lot of women were complaining about, they were saying, I was hating on these women for having jobs in education. I wasn't doing that as well. I commend any sister who has a job. I commend any sister who has an education. But what I'm not going to do is put extras on your job in education. Because that's what it is. You're supposed to have a job. You're supposed to have education. So a lot of these women, they want to get put up on a pedestal for having regular shit. That's what I was talking about. And my favorite one, a lot of women started backpedaling because on the ABC show, they were talking about how successful these women were. But when you start to cross-reference and cross-examine the quote-unquote success these women had, it really wasn't that much. So when I pointed that out, a lot of women started getting on message boards and emailing me saying things like, well, success isn't really about money. It's about your education. It's about your peace, state of mind. That's bullshit. Because that ABC special, they knew exactly what they were doing. If you watch that ABC special, and you can look at it on YouTube, they knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to make it seem like black women are doing so much better financially than black men. Look at the images they were showing, and they know the power of the visual. The images they showed, they showed black men in prison uniforms. They didn't have regular black men on there with jobs, and I pointed that out last week. They showed video of black men in orange jumpsuits going to prison, and they contrasted those images with black women driving around in Mercedes, going shopping, and sitting around drinking champagne. So when you see those images, you automatically come to a certain conclusion that these women are doing so much better than men. The black women are doing just balling out of control, and the black men are just wallowing in poverty. That's what they tried to portray. Let's not get the shit twisted. That's what was on television. So the problem is a lot of black females start to believe the hype. So I wasn't dissing this. This is what I'm doing, is trying to bring you down to reality, because y'all believe all this stuff that the media tries to tell you to keep black men and women in this divisive mind state. Y'all sisters get arrogant with bullshit. There's nothing wrong with being confident. But when you have arrogance is usually based on bullshit. And you guys became very arrogant on bullshit. In 2010, I'm going in. That's my motto. For those who don't know, in 2010, I'm going in. I'm going in on all the bullshit. I'm going in on bullshit women. I'm going in on white supremacy. I'm going in on moist dudes. I'm going in on all that shit. Everything is going to get called out. And I'm calling out the sisters first, because we're sleeping with the enemy in a lot of cases. Sisters are doing some old enemy type shit and getting on television, belittling black men with this false arrogance. That's not going to happen no more. See, that's the problem with these shows. The reason why I was going in is because a lot of these women, even if you try to say, well, success ain't about money. You try to say that now once you get cross-referenced, because as I pointed out on that show, a lot of these women had jobs like payroll specialist and high school counselor. And a lot of people don't check and see that these are just regular jobs. This isn't really no big successful type thing. A lot of these women get these jobs and you start believing it when the media tells you that you're so much successful than men. You're such much more successful than men. You start looking down on brothers, and then you get on television and start talking down on brothers. And then y'all start saying stuff like, well, God, these guys are just intimidated by my success. Have you heard that one before, fellas? That's one of my favorites. When women start talking that. You know the show, The Housewives of Atlanta, The Real Housewives of Atlanta? That woman, Sheree, who seems like a nice woman, but every week at the beginning of that show, they play her catchphrase. And her catchphrase is, people are intimidated by my success. Right? And when I look at the Housewives of Atlanta, I'm looking at Sheree, I'm like, what success does she have? You feel what I'm saying? I looked at that show for the whole season, and the whole season seemed like she was basically waiting on her ex-husband to give her a check. Not to hate on, I mean, she seems like a nice woman, but what's this success we're supposed to be intimidated by? You feel what I'm saying? And a lot of women have this mentality. I'm so successful, nobody's on my level. I'm so successful, I can't find a dude that rivals me. I can't find. I intimidate these dudes. You intimidate a dude with what? You have a job at a school. You a payroll specialist. I'm trembling in my boots. You're doing okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's time to bring that down a taste. And now we can dialogue. When you stop talking that bullshit, now black men and black women can get together and talk real. But we're going to have to get you off the bullshit pedestal first. Because the bullshit is stopping right now. It's a new decade. No bullshit. And brothers, you are going to have to start cross-referencing these females, brothers. See, a lot of brothers let a lot of this stuff slide. These women start talking crazy and you just assume that it's true. See, I've known for years that when women talk all this, I'm an educated, successful black woman. I know most of that is bullshit. I've dated a whole bunch of sisters. I know the game. I've been knowing the game. Let me just call this out right now. Because, see, I travel all over the place. I travel all over the world. And I rarely see American black females doing some fly, leisurely shit. Not to say that there aren't those who do it, but I travel all over the world. I rarely see American black females like in vacation spots around the world. They might go to Cancun or Jamaica with their homegirl or a group trip with the church or some shit like that. But I never see them doing no real fly, leisurely shit. A lot of y'all just have cool jobs. That's nothing to brag about it as far as I can't find a dude because I'm just so fly. No. You're doing cool. That's not hating on you. That's just not putting extras on what you're doing. You feel me, sisters? We're here. We're on the same page. No disrespect. We're just keeping it 100. Now, there are some sisters who are balling. I know some sisters who balling for real. I know some very successful sisters. That's not to say that there are not none out there. But the ones I know that are balling, usually they got their minds right. They're on the humble. Yeah, you want to talk about some successful sisters? I mean, you got Kathy Hughes, very successful black woman. You got Suzanne DePass. You got Monique, very successful sister who's very respectful of her husband. So there's a lot of sisters out there who are fly doing their thing. But the thing is, you got all these low level, and I hate to say that, and I'm not trying to shit on you, but your shit is kind of low level. And then you out here popping bottles and popping champagne like you really doing something. You doing some regular shit. So you are not in a position to start looking down on brothers and you doing some regular shit. Because if brothers step to you with your credentials, like, hey, I'm a high school counselor, I'm a payroll specialist, and I'm so successful, you'll look at them crazy. Right? But you expect us to roll the red carpet out and start throwing rose petals at your feet because you have a regular job. That's what I'm saying. We're going to tone the bullshit down, y'all. But I digress. That's been today's episode of the Mac Lessons Radio Show. I'd like to thank everybody for calling in. Don't forget, man, the new pay-per-view special is going to be up this Friday, The Myth of White Supremacy. You guys can get the Anti-Moist t-shirts right now at antimoist.com, or you can get it at maclessons.com. I'm going to be doing a Ustream show this afternoon in a couple of hours, so you guys go to my Ustream page, go to ustream.com and type in the Tariq Elite Show, and you guys can check out my page, and I'll be on live and we'll chop up game. The Ustream show is crazy. Ustream show is insane. There's no rules. We just go crazy on there. So check me out on Ustream later on today. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will holla. Peace.